What's going on, everyone? Seamus here with another microbite episode. And what I wanted to touch on today, it's going to be a little bit heavy and it's going to be a little bit kind of hitting you in the gut just a little bit. So please do me a favor, bear with me. What I wrote here is kind of some significant things that I've read and listened to and I've heard. Um, and it's coming into fruition into what the world has gone through, especially with COVID and with the lockdowns and things like this. And today I wanted to talk about loneliness. And a lot of you are like, oh, here we go. It's going to get real rough. I want to give you a few stats. I don't know if these are the perfect exact stats, but I was just kind of running through some stats numbers. The likelihood and the percentage to die from an accident is like roughly 5% for somebody. Obesity is 20% above and rising today. From an addiction like drugs and alcohol is 30%. However, when you age, your longevity and your death rate increases by 50% if you're lonely. And this to me is a crazy fact. 45 to 50%, you will have less longevity than those, even if they were to do drugs or if they were to get maybe, get into an accident or kind of even be obese, the thing that we're truly fighting today. It's one of the missions that I'm working against. And here's the thing, you can be alone, but not feel lonely. I love that time. I can be alone and not feel lonely. And you can feel alone yet not be alone. Have you ever been in a room where you felt like you were just there yourself, but there was 100 other people in that room? I know that feeling. I've been there. Now, the world is filled with people where they don't feel like they are reachable. They don't feel like the world understands them, or they just don't feel like they're being seen or heard, right? Like myself, I've been angry before. I felt frustrated. I've been passionate, and there was things that I just like would rip my head about and feel like, man, no one gets me, no one understands me. Funny thing was, like, if you look at people's problems, they roughly fall into a few categories. Was it a relationship thing, Seamus? Oh man, that girl, she said no. Or is it a financial problem? Man, I can't figure out payroll. What's going on? Is it like is it a problem at work? Is it a career thing? Okay, how do you communicate that, right? So when it comes to like these things, it's like a lot of these problems that people have very similar. The nuance of it, the situation might be a little bit different. So when someone says feel lonely, it's like, okay, has someone else actually been through this problem before? Are there groups around this problem? Are there communities that help us from? Like, let's just say weight loss. I'll just use that one. More than 45% of people are becoming obese and overweight. Are you truly alone in that endeavor? There's community for that. There are coaches that help with that. Okay, let's take it to a next level. Obviously, maybe a mental health issue. There are people that can help with that. Licensed marriage therapists, maybe relationship experts. Maybe you need to talk to a sexpert because you and your wife or your husband or your partner or whoever that you love, you're struggling with something, and you need to talk to someone that's an expert in that field. And that's a cool thing. There's a problem solver. So when you say you're alone, are you creating your own fortress around yourself? Right? Are you closing yourself off? Like I was trying to close myself when I was younger, just trying to protect my ego, trying to keep my virtues to myself, just being tight, not letting anyone in, bringing the walls up. I built that fortress of loneliness, not the dun dun dun, dun the fortress of solitude. Two totally different things. There's a difference. There's a difference. Okay. Solitude, loneliness. Solitude, guys, is you can be alone, but that might be time where you use as a way of self-care. It could be a form of, hey, I'm meditating for 10 minutes in solitude. I am journaling to get my mind right for the day. Or it's just, hey, being in nature in solitude, getting in touch with the source, with myself, with the world. In a sense, it's a recharge. You can be alone at this time, you can be with others, but you aren't necessarily lonely, right? If anything, you're probably more in tune with yourself, your true being. And when you come back, guess what? From that solitude, you're probably a better version of yourself for others because you did the self-care. You faced yourself in the mirror and you said, hey, I don't like what I'm seeing. How can I squish out these blemishes in the mirror? So why did I say this? Why did I say this to you, the viewer, the audience? Are you lonely because no one gets your problems? Right? Like going back to that, are you lonely because no one gets your problems? I'll be honest with you, most problems, stem from being able, not being able to accept ourselves, look ourselves in the mirror and call ourselves on the BS. I'll say it again. I truly believe that if you're feeling lonely, I mean, it could be a deeper conversation, but at some level, most problems stem from the fact that you're not able to accept yourself or call yourself out on the BS though. And you're not becoming what you have the potential to be. So at some point, your relationships, your health, maybe your career, or just overall happiness, it's kind of this in this isolated world because you're not shining a line on it. So with that being said, do you think someone else might have your problem? Think about a problem right now in your life that you're having, like the bare bones one. Is it a career thing? Like I have this deadline for work, or I have to make this much money by the end of the month. How many people feel that way? How many? Really? Are there Facebook groups you can just join in? People struggling to make ends meet, people struggling with weight, people struggling to figure out their business. There's probably someone out there helping out. And guess what? When you look around, you're like, oh, wait, there's like 5,000 people in this Facebook community or this group. So again, I ask you, are you feeling lonely because the rest of the world actually doesn't get you? Or are you feeling lonely because you've created walls, a silo, a fortress around yourself? Think about that. So now with that being said, if you really look around, financial, health, business, familial relationship problems. If you look around the rest of the world and you looked, would you feel a little bit less lonely because you're like, oh, there are others that have this issue? Would you feel a little bit more connected to others around you? And, my action step for those that are here and kind of just watching this is like, you may feel like the world doesn't understand at times. Maybe you've got to do your part. Maybe you've just got to do your part of reaching out, commenting on a Facebook page or a YouTube video like this, going to the communities, talking to a therapist, talking to family, saying hi to a friend, smiling. I don't know. Open the doors, let down the walls, open everything around you, reach out, shake someone's hand. And if you're not feeling that and you are feeling alone, still keep going. Trust me, you're worth it. Keep going. If anybody can hear this and they did everything I asked, they reached out, they let the walls down and everything, and they still felt alone, do me a favor. Keep going. All right. That's it for you guys. I'll see you later.